Alright, so I've been playing like a whole bunch of MechWarrior Online these days. My life, RN, is Conan Exiles with the boys, and then a little bit of MechWarrior every night. And what I love about the game, one of the many things I love about the game, aside from the fact that it's, you're jumping around in mechs and customizing them and killing each other, which is like the greatest. It's the American pastime. It's a thing. Aside from all that, the games are pretty short, so I can totally say, hey, I got half an hour. I'll just bust out a couple of games and then get on with my life. It's beautiful. So I felt like I needed to switch things up, and with the ultimate goal of, putting together, what they call it, a drop deck or something like that. I need more mechs, and even if I don't end up going into faction play or whatever they call it. I feel like, yes, it's good to build up some variety. So I've decided to go for clan. I did deliberate over this for quite some time. But look, let's be honest, TBH, the clan mechs are the sexiest of all the mechs. Because look, I got a weakness for chicken walkers. What can I say? So considering that I feel like I'm going to focus on mediums because it's my sort of playstyle, plus it means that you can get into games quicker because most people want to play heavies and assaults because gods know why. I'm going mediums, and IMO clan has the coolest mediums. And make no mistake, this is purely just aesthetics. But this is what the channel's about. If you're new to the channel here, you're coming here expecting like high level, oh my god, so much pure gameplay. Yo, shit out of luck, buddy. This is a mech porn channel. It's a spaceship porn channel. I even like the ice ferret. I like the names, and I like how they look, and the huntsman. Look, I'm not usually, to me, this is like the coolest robot style humanoid mech that there is. I'm not usually into the humanoids. That guy's kind of sexy. He's next on my sights. But anyway, so right now I've got the Viper. But look, let's be honest. It looks like a dog. It looks like a fucking wolf or something. It's adorable. So of course I've named my little mech here DOGE, as is a requirement because I'm on the internet. I love it. It's fucking fast. Like, it's fast as all hell. It's got presumably the armor of a medium, but it's got like the speed of a light. It's incredible, and I'm vomiting lasers right now. It overheats like the dickens because I got, 5, I think, medium lasers? Something like that. Anyway, let's take it for a spin. So this was a little bit of an interesting match. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but I'm happy to show you this one regardless of how it ends, because it was quite fun to play, and I'm not entirely ashamed of my performance in this one. We'll be looking back at the tape here, so to speak, and I'm sure we'll be able to pick apart things I could have done better, but let's get to it. So the Viper is a sexy little mech. I actually really, really like it. It's fast, but it can take a beating, like a lot more than I expected considering its speed. So it's very much, look, in my eyes, and keep in mind, I'm not at all a pro player. I think what my ranking, or whatever you call it, is 5, which is the worst. But keep in mind, I feel like I'm a better player than my rank. I'm definitely not to like continue the circle jerk of whatever they call it, SEO hell or whatever the system is. But I do feel like I'm in a situation where my skill does not reflect my outwardly facing rank. But in any case, as long as I can get to the end of the match alive, which happens more often than not, I can probably count on one hand how many times I've actually died, fairly early on in the past few months. So I'm fairly pleased with that. But on that tangent, we'll circle back to what's actually happening on screen here. So keep in mind, I'm not an expert, but I feel like this mech is very much a hit and run tactics kind of thing. So you'll see later on in this match, we kind of get forced into a situation where we can't play like that. And I personally, as a pilot, as a player, didn't know what to do. And I'll look forward to suggestions in the comments of how I could have gotten out of that particular situation. But for the moment, we're just capturing points here, and it's all fairly hunky-dory. Of course, the fast mechs excel at this. Maybe I should have run around, and captured some more points on my own, utilizing my inherent speed. But I felt I was probably better off sticking with a group, as is often the case. I'm a little bit, so the mediums are a really interesting type of mech, a class of mech, and that's why I love them, because they're sort of, in my experience, in my opinion rather, they kind of fit into a lot of different roles. The fast ones can basically do the job of the light mechs and be the scouts and the spotters and the point capturers and whatnot. But the heavier ones can be brawlers or snipers, and it makes it interesting. It makes it a really fun class to play, because you can have just all this variety within the one weight class. But also it makes it a little bit confusing as to, you got to play a mech and figure out, okay, what's this one good for? And then you got to sort of adjust accordingly. And of course, there's, like with any competitive game, there's the meta and people who go against the meta, and no one really knows what the fuck the meta is, because you go onto the forums, some guy presents himself as the authority, and it's like, well, who made you, fucking King Dick, But that's me. I'm sure a lot of you are probably saying, why are you playing with a Viper? It's like, you gotta do this sort of mech and blah, 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 blah. But look, that's how I roll. It's a roleplay strat. I pick clan mechs because I like the look of them. I'm picking mechs because I like the look of them. And then I'm trying to figure out a way to make them useful. But, I think I was useful in this match. And here we are, into a little bit of a brawl here. And you'll see that we actually wiped the floor with these guys. And I'm really pleased with my performance here. I felt like I was fitting the role. I was playing to the role of this particular mech, which is sort of to weave around the heavies and take pot shots, take those opportunity shots, avoid getting hit at all costs, but basically spread the damage a little bit and help these big guys take out this group of mechs. And we actually pull it off, and I was fairly pleased with that. Got a reasonable amount of assists there. Of course, you can always do better, but we're sort of stuck in this one position here, defending this point. So the Viper over, at least this variant, which I believe is the Viper, I'll double check if it's the Viper-A I chose, the one with all I believe it's the 5 medium lasers and the streak missiles. Now I did adjust the configuration because it fired 4 of the torso lasers in group 1 and 1 of the arm lasers in group 2, and I can only assume that's because the arm laser has a greater range of movement. Because it's on the arm, you can fire a little higher or a little lower than you can with a torso, but it was really messing me up in terms of heat. I was just basically alphaing, I believe is the term, fairly up close, and then I had to just get the math out of there because I couldn't fire again, because then I'd overheat and shut down and I'd be a sitting duck. So I actually switched it up so that I got 2 firing in group 1 and the other 3 firing in group 2. So that way, I can take pot shots with my group 1, and then when I've got a solid, fairly close range shot and I can do some nice proper damage on the cockpit or something, I hit him with group 2, or I hit him with both barrels. So this is where it sort of went south a little bit. So we took out that lance maybe, or just that group of mechs, and then the big guys came in pelting us with the long range missiles or LRMs or whatever they have, and we had to get the fuck out of there. And that's where we split up, and that's probably where it all went down the hill, right? I should have made an effort to stick with the group. Then I get cornered by this fucking locust here, and I just cannot hit this fucking guy. But all credit to my team, absolutely fantastic. This doesn't usually happen. All credit to them. I threw up a help little command with my little communication wheel, and this guy came to my aid, and he tried his best to help me out. He took the heat from the Locust while I tried to aim some shots at this fast little bastard. But maybe it's it's probably just my lacking skill here. But I had a real hard time just getting any laser onto this guy. He's just too damn fast. I'm usually pretty good at keeping the crosshairs, the lasers, on the target for the duration of the beam. But I just could not pull it off with this Locust. It was a real pain in the ass. Maybe the counter to that is like missiles, Seeker missiles, possibly. But yeah, this is this is not good. So I just got cornered, and I felt the best course of action was just to turn into the attack, just like Starbuck said in the reimagined Battlestar Galactica series. You run, you die. So I just kept circling him, and I did survive, quite a long time there with the Locust just chipping away at me, and then that big guy sort of laying down some heat from afar, and eventually they got me. But I feel slightly proud that I did last that long. I don't think I did as much damage to the Locust as I could have. I mean, obviously I didn't kill him, but yeah, I don't know. He wasn't, when I died, he wasn't as damaged as I would have hoped. But looking at the score and our surviving teammates at the end of this battle, I was the third last. Is that the third last to die? Is that right? There were 2 guys left after me, and it looks like they were a couple of long-range guys. And then we ended up just losing to point capture. They just captured all the points, and there wasn't a lot we could do about it. So I feel like when they came at us with those LRMs and split up the group, that is where we sort of fell apart. And I feel like if I could have done anything better, aside from aiming better, especially with that Locust, I should have just made a concerted effort to stay with the group, but I got caught up with that Locust. I let him split me up from the group, and I was basically dead as soon as that happened. It was just a matter of time then. But I got a decent amount of C-bills there. I did, what was it? Can we have a look? It's very small, but what was it? 375 damage? You'll be able to see it better, but it's very small on my preview window here. But it was well over 300 damage, which, is not a huge amount, but you know what? For a fast, not so heavy mech with just a bunch of medium lasers, I'm not too concerned with that. Of course, we can always do better, but I feel that I feel like that was a good game, so I'm happy to show you that. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.